I now invite Vardi Shri Sidharth Luthra ji to kindly address us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today. I've known Singhi Saab and the firm for over a decade now. And I must say that I have a little feeling today that I've been shortchanged. I should have agreed to a physical inauguration because I'm missing out on Mr. Singhi's legendary hospitality. I've had the privilege of being to the Kolkata office, and I'm really feeling very shortchanged today. So Singhi Saab, next time we have an event of this, we must do it in a physical form. It's always a privilege to be in your company, and I shall partake of your hospitality definitely, if nothing else, for a cup of tea. That's what I want to begin with.
We will.
Now, I must tell you that, I've worked with the firm closely for a while, and there are three aspects of the firm and their working which I want to describe. Firstly, consistency in quality and professionalism. Secondly, creativity and innovation. And third, according to me, most important, integrity and an ethical practice. One of the things that we find very often is when I deal with foreign lawyers, and I don't deal with foreign lawyers as often as most of you do, but I find that in my dealing with international lawyers, there is a concern they sometimes raise that consistency in practice depends on the individual partner who they're dealing with. And that's a concern which I think it's a human concern, and we need to address it, which means that we have a bunch of individuals in an organization, but we all have to be more systems driven. And all of us, we are human. I often find that my own level of performance will vary, but the idea is to remove those aberrations. So the first thing I will say is that you, sir, have created a unique platform where there is consistency of performance, consistency of work, and there is a seamlessness to that service that you're rendering to your clients. And for that, I would really compliment you, because that's something which is a wonderful experience, both for the service beneficiary as also for those, because you've achieved a level of professionalism, which is what all law firms should aspire to do. And for that, I would compliment you. The second thing is creativity and innovation. What do I mean with that? I've had the privilege of working with the firm on a very interesting issue which deals with international, domestic law, constitutional law, criminal law, treaties. And it's a fascinating interface where, I don't know if you remember the story of King Robert the Bruce, who lost the battle many times. And then one day he was in his prison and he saw the spider walking up the wall for the 8th time, and he saw the spider made it. And therefore he said, why should I not try again? And the next time he vanquished the enemies, and he was back as the ruler of England. Now, I've seen this, that we've been trying in one particular litigation, which which is still on, in fact. We have kept it time and again, and finally we have seen a lot of light. And today I think it's going to be path-breaking. That is going to set, and I must compliment that interface of international and domestic, constitutional, criminal law dimensions, which have all been brought into play. And the kind of assistance I've got as counsel is something which I would call exemplary, and I compliment you all. So that's the second point I wanted to make. The third point, which to me, and I must tell you, my passion is, I happen to do the law profession just as a aberration sometimes, I believe. My real desire lies in teaching the law. Not that I'm a good teacher, but that's my passion. Unfortunately, I could not follow it completely. So one of the things that we do not achieve as often as you should is embodying the integrity and ethics principles in a practice. It's not that people are unethical, but what is ethics and what is integrity? Ethics is not what ought to be done, but more important, what ought not to be done. And therefore, and all of us are human, we are tempted sometimes to, cut a little corners. But this is what I find in S.K.Singhi and company. There is a value system, a sanskar, which I find which is a privilege to deal with. That value system, that sanskar. In English, there is no English word which fits the word for sanskar. The closest I can call it is integrity or a cultural ethos. But sanskar is very, very Indian in that context. So the sanskar that is embodied in all members of the firm, from the junior most lawyers to the partners to the managing partner, is something which I find is like a breath of fresh air. And since, as you know, I live in Delhi, where the air is not very fresh, such fresh air is very, very welcome to people like me. And yet, there is no lack of commitment. There is no lack of ability to deliver results within the four corners of law. There is a desire to provide clients a multi-dimensional approach. There is a desire to provide clients a creative approach. There is a desire to find results through a strategic approach within the four corners of the law. So these are the three things I really wanted to tell you about the firm. And I must say, it's a privilege. But before I end, there is one more thing I must tell you. In the time that I've known the firm and its partners, there is a saying, change is the only constant. Life is full of change, and that is the only constant. But I have something else to say. I've modified a little, and that is that adaptation and evolving in relation to change is the hallmark of success. And therefore, I have seen this with you, adaptation, evolution to change, and I would compliment you. Please continue with your efforts. That will bring you great laurels. It is a consistent effort of performance that I see with you, and I do wish you well, not only now, this is only 15 years. I'm looking at perhaps 100 years or more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So with that, I wish you all well. Thank you so very much for having me here today. It's been a privilege to be amongst you all. And I congratulate you once again. And many, many laurels, sir, many, many awards. You have only given us a glimpse of two, but I know there are going to be many awards. And the biggest award and the reward is the recognition amongst your peers. The fact that there are so many well-wishers of the firm here today is the recognition of the kind of service and quality you provide. God speak to all of you. I wish you well.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.